I haven't been able to fall asleep for several hours because it's too scary and noisy in the jungle at night. Everything makes creepy sounds or rustles around. But what scares me the most are the animals you can't hear, moving silently towards their prey. Who would have thought that a trip along the river would end up being a sleepover in the middle of the wild jungle? I didn't even want to go on this trip. It was my best friend's idea, and I only came for her. Hello, everyone. I'm Blair, and a month ago, Andrew showed me a wedding ring. I've never seen such a huge diamond before. Courtney was lucky. I was sincerely happy for my friend. Andrew was her boyfriend, and he was going to propose to her in an unforgettable way. You're going to give her a ring in the middle of the Amazon jungle? Seriously? Where will you hide it? In the jaws of a jaguar? Or caiman? I couldn't imagine anything worse for my own proposal, but I knew that Courtney would appreciate it. She couldn't live a day without putting her life in at least a little danger, and a trip along the Amazon River was her childhood dream. Okay, you came up with a great plan. I wish I could see her face when everything goes down.
And you will see it. I already bought 4 tickets for us. I won't take no for an answer. We are all going together. Courtney can't have any idea that this is anything more than just a fun trip.
Wait, 4 tickets? Who is the 4th? It was a rusty old boat. It looked like it had spent a couple of months at the bottom of the river, but Courtney was thrilled. Her dreams had come true, an exciting adventure along the wildest and most dangerous river in the world. I would have chosen a cruise, but then another unpleasant surprise awaited me. The mysterious 4th passenger was Todd, my ex-boyfriend. We had broken up a year ago because he decided that we weren't right for each other. Even though later on he had called and texted me more than once, I never responded. Honestly, he really hurt me, and now I was ready to kill Andrew for setting me up like this. There were 7 of us on the ferry. The 4 of us, our captain, the guide, and a scary-looking man with muscles like Dwayne Johnson, and a rifle slung over his shoulder. I knew that Andrew had hired him in case something went wrong. Andrew seemed to read my mind and whispered in my ear, "They say he broke a crocodile's jaw with his bare hands when it lunged out of the water at him. Stay close to him, scaredy cat." Why did I agree to this? We rode for 3 hours. It was hot and humid. I sat on the edge of the boat and put my feet in the water while trying to connect to the internet. The connection was poor. "Hey, don't move! Freeze!" I froze and blinked my eyes, not understanding what was happening.
That's right, don't budge. And don't move your legs.
I was scared to death.
What's that in the water? An anaconda?
If it's a school of piranha, then shouldn't she get her feet out of the water? Pay no attention to these morons, Blair. They're just fooling around. Courtney helped me up. Actually, the rumors about anaconda attacks on people are greatly exaggerated. They can't swallow an adult. There are only a few confirmed cases when they've swallowed children or teenagers. Then everyone looked at me at the same time. I'm only 5 feet tall and 105 pounds. Even my 12-year-old brother is taller and bigger than me. I went to bed in a hammock outside. I didn't want to be in the same room with the others and my ex. I was still awake when Todd came up to me.
"I brought you a blanket. It gets chilly at night."
I took it without saying a word.
"Do you mind if I lay here in the next hammock? I don't want to disturb Andrew and Courtney, and you'd probably get scared here alone."
I agreed, but pretended to be very irritated. The strange feeling of lying in a hammock under the starry sky in the middle of such a huge river, it was both scary and fascinating. And it muddled all my thoughts.
Sure isn't New York, is it?
It's unlike anywhere I've ever been before, or anywhere we've been together. Todd and I talked. I remembered how wonderful he was and even forgot about how he hurt me. Before I knew it, we were sitting together, holding each other and looking at the moon. Then he looked into my eyes and...
Do you hear that? Such a strange sound from the forest.
I didn't hear it and didn't even want to turn around to look. But a few seconds passed, and then I heard it too. We were peering into the darkness of the forest when I heard heavy breathing nearby. It was our rock. He had somehow quietly appeared out of nowhere and was looking intensely towards the rustling sound. The sound came again. And he slowly began removing the gun from his shoulder, but then everything went quiet. At breakfast, we joked about what had happened that night. Nothing had come out of the forest. I couldn't believe that we were going ashore. It was Courtney's crazy idea to spend the night in tents. It cost Andrew more money for the guide and bodyguard, but he didn't care. After all, he was proposing to Courtney that day. The surprise was a success. Courtney hadn't expected a thing and was delighted. We broke out the champagne and had a great time. Night came, but no one was sleeping. I went to bed in the tent first. I kept waking up for fear of falling into a deep sleep in such conditions. Then I gave up and had a terrible nightmare. I woke myself up from screaming, but the nightmare didn't end. I really was inside something's mouth, along with my sleeping bag. I couldn't see what it was, but I knew that it felt like I was being sucked into a huge pipe. Todd was the first to wake up and he immediately ran out of the tent. He returned with our rock. The panic began. There were gunshots. I don't know how they miraculously pulled me out of its mouth. It was a terrible night. While I was sleeping, a big anaconda had almost swallowed me whole. Instead, it ended up disappearing into the night with my sleeping bag. The whole team was shocked, and we spent the rest of the journey in the cabin. If I didn't love my friend so much, I would never have agreed to this excursion. Well, at least I have something to remember. Thank you for listening to my story. Hi, I'm Claire. I'm 23 years old, and for a long time, I haven't been able to work up the courage to tell someone about something terrible that I did. But if I can't accept it, then I can't forgive myself and move on. So, the time has come. I travel a lot, and I even post about it on my Instagram page. I had already visited 12 countries when I first flew to Korea. To help me get familiar with the country, a local guy and my longtime pen pal, Chow, was supposed to help me. Up until then, we had only known each other through the internet, but once we met in person, we took a liking to each other. He showed me many picturesque streets, beaches, cafes, and on the third day, he invited me to his home for dinner. He told me that he was going to amaze me with his signature dish. When I arrived, the table was already set, and the dish had been exquisitely served up on plates. It was the perfect opportunity to put up a couple of stories on Instagram before eating. I marinated this delicious meat according to my own recipe. Can you guess what it is? Marinade, I guessed. The taste was tart with a little spice. I was already tired of listing the possible seasonings that he could have used when Chow laughed and said that he was actually asking me to guess what kind of meat it was. I gulped and looked at my already almost empty plate. For a moment, a terrible thought occurred to me, but it couldn't be true. It's dog, Chow said simply. I was silent and just looked at him. Then I got up and put my hands on my head. Without stopping, Chow started talking about the exceptional benefits of dog meat, that it was Korea's traditional national dish, and how one could not fully get a feel for the country without trying it. Idiot! How could you even think of doing that? Why didn't you think to warn me first? My Staffordshire Terrier is waiting for me at home. I have always had dogs since childhood. I was still screaming when I felt nausea rise up into my throat. I ran to the toilet and lost all of my dinner there, along with my appetite for the next few months, and even the slightest desire to spend another minute alone with Chow. That very night, I changed my ticket and flew home in the morning. For a long time, I couldn't get over what had happened. I just really love animals, especially dogs. It does not even occur to me that they're edible. Because of the anxiety I was feeling, I even lost weight and developed an emotional allergy. At first, I went to a doctor for treatment until my mother advised me to consult a psychologist. Over time, things started improving. I still travel, and since that event, I have visited 3 more countries. But now, I always find out what the food that is offered to me is made of before trying it.